Welcome to Transform Now, the podcast brought to you by robotic process automation pioneer Blue Prism. Digital transformation has the potential to reshape the way companies service their customers, engage their employees, and manage their operations. Whether you're looking to develop strategies, tactics, and best practices to positively impact the future of work, or you're curious to learn how other companies have successfully navigated their digital transformation programs, then this podcast is for you. We're here to help you transform now.
Hello, and welcome to Transform Now. This is Xina Seaton, Vice President of Customer Experience at Blue Prism and a co-founder of Women in RPA. I'm pleased to have with me today the team from WonderBotz, a Blue Prism Delivery and Technology Alliance partner, including Paula Carneria Kopp and 4 of her colleagues who are Blue Prism Community MVPs, Most Valuable Professionals. This is part 2 of a 2-part podcast with WonderBotz. I want to take an opportunity now to ask Tejaskumar about the best practices. Your colleague there, Devneet, mentioned his vast experience and how he can look at something and say, is this shortcut going to work? And you have that library of best practices after the experience that you've amassed there. They sort of exist in your head. How do you take those best practices and apply them to the problem at hand so that you're confident you're delivering the best solution?
Right, Zina. A very good, a very high level approach to this solution. So on the similar line as Devneet said, jigsaw puzzle, right? So in this RPA industry with the Blue Prism, we have so many reusable components. I would like to, compare it with the Lego blocks, right? So Blue Prism, gave us a lot of Lego blocks. We are now on the playground and use it accordingly as per the requirement, as per your experience, as per your best practices, right? Now the entire game starts here is that how efficiently and how in the best manner you use those Lego blocks to reach to a certain solution. So that is where the journey starts, right? And now I would say there are 3 parameters or 3 points that I would like to add with this visualization. So the first would be your development experience, right? So along with more and more development you do, the more and more process you automate, the more business you engage with, more SMEs you deal with. Along with the line, you come with a lot of development experience, right? So that is the first point. The second point is the best practice. So over the period of time, you got to learn a lot of new best practices. You start implementing them as per your organization standards, which builds a more robust automations. And the third and the most important is your community engagement, right? So definitely, community acts as a foundation because everyone engages a lot with each other over the community. And, we discuss, we finalize the solution, we discuss the problems, all the solutions with all the pros and cons, advantage, disadvantage. Okay. So whenever business throws one problem to you, then you definitely have, 5 to 10 solutions instantly in your mind that, okay, this can be done in this several ways. Right. So all that builds over the time and, and years of experience. I think Devneet, Amlan, Murali, they have been in the industry with years and years of experience and that library gets built over the time and more engagements that is being done on the community and with the team. So at the end, what happens is like we end up delivering a better solution and before the deadline, right? So we had one problem with us that came from the business and we ended up finishing it so early and in very efficient, timely manner. So you open more opportunities. You basically you widen the client's vision that, okay, yeah, we are done with this problem. Give us the more problems, right? We are ready to create more bots over the time. So that is how it builds and the visualization helps over the years and years of experience and with the Blue Prism community, of course, acting as a foundation to all these things.
And I'll comment that not only the Blue Prism community, but the community here that you have at WonderBotz with the Fab 4. I'm curious, you're the newbie on the team, only having been there 2 years. That's amazing in and of itself because 2 years in the industry is like a lifetime. But how do you 4 gentlemen and those of you at WonderBotz share best practices? I know how you share them with our community, which is amazing as an MVP, but amongst yourselves, how do you make sure that you're doing that knowledge sharing and that you're doing that sharing of best practices so that all of WonderBotz clients benefit from what each of you brings to bear?
So I would say, with the best practices, we definitely have some templates with us and a very specific documentation created by our leadership team at WonderBotz. So as Paula was mentioning, our training methodologies are very rigorous. Everyone goes through the proper development training, and that starts from day one, right? Your best practice starts from the day one itself, and that becomes, over the time your habit, right. Whatever you develop, that becomes your habit. The best practices are now wounded into your habit. So that's how it starts, and continuously you start building the things over the best practices. And the second point I would add is, we always try to do the peer review with each other, right? So what I think must be different from what Devneet is thinking, what Murali is thinking. Amlan must be thinking something else, right? So of course, the peer reviews in this development comes into the picture, and we definitely, always wanna put more focus on that, because that gives you more brainstorming and more such ideas out of it. So that leads to more powerful automations and better practices there. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I hear others say that as well, that bringing together the diversity of skill sets that are often brought together to accomplish an automation transformation really strengthens that transformation that's coming out of that at the end of that project. So good job. Good job on making sure that you guys share those best practices. Okay, so I want to now move to Amlan. Amlan, you mentioned at the beginning that you had been at this for 5 years, and as well as MuraliKrishna. So you guys are the most tenured ones on this call. I think even predate me, because I didn't join the world until 2018. So I'm curious and would like to ask you your perspective on this constant evolution that we live in our world, where new emerging technologies that, are introduced. It feels like daily, might not be quite that often, but these have to impact you on a regular basis and impact the work and the best practices that you're delivering. How do you solve problems today that are different than the way you would have solved them when you started 5 years ago in 2017? Was that now? That sounds like it was ages ago.
Yeah, Xina, I would like to talk about that. There are a few examples I want to tell. Like if you think like, before 5 years, like if there is a human interaction required anywhere in like, they want to interact with Blue Prism, or, they want to send some notification, they usually send it through email. So like, when bot will go and say, read that email, then they will act on that particular action. But in before 2 years or 3 years, we just started introducing SharePoint list where, like if we update something, and nowadays everyone needs like a form or even a UI interaction where they can put everything into UI. So we introduced like something called SharePoint list, where like we can customize the form, like we can give anything like new, in progress, or close. It depends on us, like the statuses or anything. So, but now if you see, now Blue Prism has provided its own form like Interact, where it has its own form and own design, where you can design a form and it can directly give all the data to the Blue Prism queue, which is very helpful. So the same way, like if we take some more examples, like if 5 years ago we are doing everything in IE, which is not a modern browser, and we don't have much, like much support over there. Like we will do everything just in HTML mode. We don't have anything support now. But if we will take the example of modern browser like Chrome or Firefox or Edge, then it supports XPath. So if you are using XPath, we don't have to, worry about whether we have to spy 100 elements. We can spy any one element. We can just pass the XPaths from my Excel or from anything, from anywhere where we're storing the XPaths, and we can perform any action throughout the browser. Like we don't have to spy it 100 times. We just need to generate XPath for all these things. So that is a simple example. And the last but not the least, which I can take an example like PDF, which is like genuine problem for all the automation solutions, like wherever we'll go. So initially when there is a PDF, we usually try to read it with normal OCRs or any free OCRs that are available in market, or sometimes some paid OCRs like Avi or some other tools as well. But now also, if you see, in 5 years down the line, there are a lot of changes. Blue Prism has its own decipher as well, and where we can train and we can read any example of any kind of PDFs, or we can train it. So that's how the evolution for me in the beginner to this stage, it's a lot of changes because I see everywhere it changes. Like if you take the Blue Prism your studio itself, it changes a lot. So that's how the evolution, and I'm very happy, like, at least I am learning with new technology and I'm growing up with the new technology. Hope it will continue.
So, guys, I was just listening to all these stories, just bubbling over with pride. Honestly, this is just really exciting. And you guys just add so much value to our client sites. It occurred to me, though, that you guys didn't mention the awesome advent of Friday Express that we had this year. Does somebody want to explain what we do at WonderBotz to pull the community together for learnings?
Sure, Paula, you hit the right string this time. Huh? Definitely, yeah. So the Friday Express is basically, our bi-weekly dose of knowledge and fun. So, we kind of entire WonderBotz get together on the meeting. Everybody's working from home. Some of the folks are from office, and this is the place where, everyone from the US and India teams and every corner, right? They just meet on a single meeting, and we share a lot of things. The main part is here, it's not just, the technical stuff, right? Whatever we discussed earlier in this call, like development, Blue Prism, RPA, robots. It is like a cross learning for all of us. Sometimes Paula gives us a sales pitch, how to do the marketing, right? So it is, very cross learning opportunity for all of us at the WonderBotz. We share a lot of technical, non-technical, and some of the sessions were completely, it is like a fun sessions, right? So yeah, it definitely shares a lot of knowledge, not just within our community team, but and across the WonderBotz. And sometimes, we invite guests outside the industry as well, to get some, what's their experience around all these things, right?
The one thing that occurs to me as I've been listening is how much fun you guys have. I mean, we've talked about puzzles and playgrounds and Lego blocks. It sounds like you guys really enjoy this field and enjoy what you're doing and enjoy the impact that you're making. Would any of you like to just make a comment on that?
Absolutely, Zina. Sometimes I remember when somebody was asked to sing a song, someone was asked to dance, and they continuously refrain that I don't want to dance, huh? So yeah, and specifically the things on the Friday, it feels a different charm in everyone that, you are not monotonously doing the same work. In the journey to create the robots, we are making sure that we humans do not become the robot itself. So yep, it's really enjoying that. Yeah.
I definitely wanted to just chime in too on the fun. This is a lot of hard work. It takes a lot to continuously learn. And one of the things that I think is just so great about us combining across the globe is that they actually get to see the context in which their work is being applied. So you get a lot smarter and a lot better with your design thinking when you understand what the end result is, right? Back to the puzzle analogy. When you get a little bit of a glimpse of what the box is supposed to look like that you're aiming to, solve for, it becomes a little bit more cohesive and the design becomes a little bit more intuitive. And I think that's why these guys have grown up to be just fantastic. I mean, WonderBotz is actually celebrating 5 years. So these are veterans from the beginning. And it's just fantastic to see them come together and have an eagerness to learn outside of just development, just to really understand the context in which automation is playing for our clients and then for the broader community. So I think it's just fantastic that they have the willingness to learn. It's one thing to be good at it. It's another thing to be hungry to want to learn more.
Agree. And yeah, taking them out of that development role and helping them to understand the upstream and downstream impacts of what they're doing is very important so that they can have those up-leveled conversations with the individuals and really help drive that digital culture and that transformation that is so important to WonderBotz, I know, to help their clients do as well. So before we wrap it up here, I would like to, Apologist, have you close us off and tell us a little bit about how WonderBotz is helping the clients in the office of the CFO. I know you work a lot with CFOs. I think one of our first podcasts, we asked the question, could the CFO be a digital worker? I will link to that podcast in our show notes because that's an interesting podcast to reflect back on. But how are you helping the office of the CFO with FP&A, reconciliations, financial close, and other things that you're helping them with? If you will, add in the color of how Amlan, Tejaskumar, MuraliKrishna Kodi, and Devneet play into that as well?
Oh, I think they play into it wholeheartedly. So it's no secret that WonderBotz, our bread and butter, and what we're tried and true, very good at doing is automating the back office, particularly in finance and accounting. And the reason for that, the reason that's developed along the road, along the journey of coming to be, is that we were asked to do the same automation in accounting and finance over and over again. And so because we have fantastic developers with design thinking, it occurred to them one day, wow, if everybody's asking for this, why don't we productize this? And so what WonderBotz has is this solution set that we call the Accounting and Finance Suite. And it's actually a back office bundle that allows finance leaders or COE leaders, it caters to either audience, to say, hey, is your stakeholder asking for you to automate invoices? Funny, that happens a lot across our client sites, right? Are you looking to automate your reconciliation, get maybe a little bit more bang for your black line buck? Guess what? Other people are doing that too. And so what we've been able to do is really synthesize the asks from our clients and say, hey, wouldn't it be nice to be able to configure the input and output of an automation rather than create something that's already been created multiple times? And through design thinking and really coming up with a strategic set of patterns, which is ultimately what we do, Lego blocks, if you will, we can pull from our existing Lego blocks. And what we've done is we've created a pattern, right? Out of Legos, we've made a train, right? And so now we can actually come to our clients with an 80% built solution that they can then configure, design, and match to what they need to get done. It benefits definitely shared service centers, BPO centers, folks that have a lot of high volume transactions in the finance and accounting space. But moreover, what we've seen is that the CFO is taking a more of a strategic role in technology projects. They wind up being not only the stakeholder that's interested in how this is going to go. They're the ones that finance the automations ultimately, whether they know it or not. But usually it's their backyard that has the first use cases. So we actually, back when we did that podcast, we bet all in on the CFO. And we've really, had a lot of success in evangelizing automation to that audience and saying, hey, if it's going to start at your doorstep anyway, why don't you take control of this project? Because this project's going to turn into a program. And as we all know, a successful program means that you're embracing digital workforce in your organization. And that's what we think that the CFO should evangelize and be part of. We also recently did an event, which was AI for the CFO, because as you mentioned, these technologies continue to advance and digital workers through machine learning have gotten smarter. So we leverage the brain that these machines have started to unpack and disclose to us, things that we weren't even sure of. We had bias about how processes were being done until AI stepped in and said, actually, this is what's really happening. And so at WonderBotz, we definitely service the CFO office, and we definitely service the use cases that pertain to that space through our pre-built solutions. We believe in speed to deployment. You're not going to keep doing an automation program if you have to keep asking for budget every year, right? We don't believe in that. So if we give you a pipeline that's ready to go with all the usual suspects in finance and accounting, we found that that's what makes heroes. And I'm pretty sure that's why Blue Prism has named us the winners for newcomer awards, because we really set our clients up for success that first year with automations that are valuable. And we deploy them very quickly because of designers and thought leaders like this that you've interviewed today. These guys are really, what make the make it turn. I'm not good at expressions. You're supposed to help me out with that one. Give me a text this one. But they really make the value come to be. And we couldn't do it if it wasn't all a community of WonderBotz, right? It takes all of us to get it done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I couldn't thank WonderBotz enough for being the valued partner that they are. But really, the thanks goes to the gentlemen on the call here today, Amlan, Tejaskumar, Devneet, and MuraliKrishna. Thank you so much. And any closing thoughts that you'd like to share with our listeners before we adjourn for this episode?
I just want to add one thing, Xina. Every one of us, we must keep the fire of curiosity alive in us, because, there is no full stop on learning.
I would also like to add something here, like from our discussions, like whatever we discussed today, one thing is pretty evident, like whatever we do, we can do it only because we have like meaningful conversations among us, like those brainstorming sessions, right? So it's not only just about why we are automating it or how we are automating it. We need to see the bigger picture, how we're actually going to transform the process altogether at the end of the day. And that is where I think the real recipe lies with the success.
Thank you, Devneet. Amlan, MuraliKrishna, come on. Final thoughts.
Yeah, so I also agree with Devneet. Like we need to think always, before automating, why you are automating and how we can automate it easily. So, and that we can come to know like this kind of a bigger forum where we will contribute to each other, and we can discuss among ourselves how we can do it better going forward. So yeah, so that's it from my side.
All right.
Yeah,
MuraliKrishna.
yeah. I just like to add one thing, that automation journey is a mutual play where it plays a major role with the business along with the technology, and as the RPA developer, responsible RPA developer, we have to play a major role in achieving greater heights in the results that we put in.
Thank you all very much for joining me on this two-part podcast. Paula, Devneet, Tejaskumar, MuraliKrishna, and Amlan. I really do appreciate all of your insights, stories, and best practices around design thinking. It's really great stuff and just the kind of thing we expect from WonderBotz. Thank you all again. This is Xina signing off.
Thank you.
Thanks, Xina.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in to Transform Now. For more insightful discussions on digital transformation and more, check out our podcast channel where you'll find all of our previous episodes. To make sure you never miss an episode, subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast player. And if you like what you heard, please leave us a review. For more information about digital transformation and the future of work, check out blueprism.com to learn how Blue Prism's digital workforce is enabling enterprise transformation now.